Hello, everybody. So, I want to talk about the importance of working with somebody while you're on your spiritual path. So, when I first started out doing meditation and doing self-inquiry, doing different kind of processes, it's like the more that you do and you see that there's shifts, there's differences, the more that you feel confident. You don't need anybody. You can do it alone. And then it's like when you're exposed to people who are further along than you and you feel that somehow you could ask them for help. In my situation, there was like this resistance. Oh, if I'm going to ask them for help, it's like in the beginning when I start to work with somebody, or like a teacher or somebody who I learn with or study with, there's a bond or a friendship, almost like a relationship that's there, right? And then all of a sudden, I feel too fucking ashamed to expose myself. You're like, hey, you've seen me as this nice guy, but I have all this shit here. Or I have all these things. To be fully sincere and honest with this person. So because of that, because having this resistance, this fear of being judged or fear of feeling vulnerable, I've avoided putting myself in like this coaching situation where somebody could actually support my process. And it's only last year where I met a shaman that I understood how important and valuable it can be. So imagine that what you're going through, whatever it is, right? There are people who have also had experiences, who have had their own path, and they've learned things. They've learned to deal with things. They've learned strategies. They learned how to see the pitfalls. They learned, they learned how to navigate things, right? Because of their experience. Or because of their own teachers and whatever. And so all of a sudden, I remember I was sitting with a shaman and I was already very sensitive to energy. And while we were talking, I felt on an energy level that things were happening. I felt like, something was like almost zooming in on this thing that we were going to work on. And I felt like, like it was so strong. And I understood immediately there because I also like heard him talking about things which were relevant to what I was going through, to my theme. And I was like, this is so spot on. And this thing is really working. So all of a sudden I understand this is the real deal. He's the real deal. The shaman is the real deal. And so over the course of months, I started to do sessions with him. So basically we would call through WhatsApp and we would like have a talk. Or the days before, I would send him a message like, I've written out this list of things, of patterns, of limiting behaviors or whatever things that I see are draining energy or wasting energy or like that brings suffering or something like that. Like I just saw, like I had written these things out on a list. And I was like, okay, I feel ready to do a new session. So I wrote him and then he's like, okay, let's start working. So he meditates a few days before or sometime before, and then he feels and he gives me some feedback, some like for preparation. And then on the day of the session, we have small talk about things. He's giving me like an intro, an overview of what's going to happen in the session, and then we have like a shamanic journey, a session. I must say these sessions were truly profound, were really beautiful. Like during the sessions, I met my animal power. Beginning was a wolf, then I met a puma, and it's interesting because after the sessions, all of a sudden I had this ability to ask, to invoke or ask this animal power of the wolf, of the puma, to ask things. And I would ask it, and then it was like information was being channeled. Like I would ask it, I would send out the question, and I would get this image of this animal power, and then all of a sudden the information would start to come. I could feel it. It was like, it's like channeling, or I don't know how to say this, but I just felt like, oh, the information's coming, and there's like certain information about whatever I asked. And I was like, whoa, interesting. So we did different things about personal mission, personal power, animal power, like different themes about addictive patterns, or sex, like different things. And once per month or so we did a session, and it was all based on donations, so it's very accessible. And like, it's like when you look back, you see you're doing like this work of integration with these things that are still maybe active in your life, and it's like, this is getting some resolution, there's a shift here, especially the days after you feel something happening. And it's only now that I understand, like, it's so nice to find somebody who's in a position where he's not judging you. You don't feel judged, because you sense it when you talk to this person, that there's some quality of non-duality. There is some quality of acceptance, of like freedom to be. And I understand like, if I'm not honest or sincere with him, I'm only halting my own progress. And I also have the sense, like, I can have this relationship with him because he's like different. He's not like I don't want to compare too much, but it's like there's this sense of like he's an outlier, or he's like this person who has done so much of his inner work himself. He's so familiar with his own things that you sense it, or you feel it. This person, when I share my shit, when I share my things, when I'm being honest, he can somehow relate because he has gone through his own things. And there is this kind of, hey, we're just human, we have our human things. And it's so comforting to have that. It's almost like this friend. It's like, you imagine like the way you are right now, but then the future you, who has gone through more experiences and has done more inner work, and you're talking to that kind of person who's also interested in inner work, who's done, and you're like, it's easy to speak on the same language. So for me, it really became apparent, like, wow, it's so helpful to have a person who supports your process, a person who can really guide you through your experiences, who can help you to navigate what's happening in your life, in your reality, in your shift, in your transformations, and somebody who also is able to work with you on a mental level, energetic level, sometimes just talk, and also, or just text. It's so powerful and so valuable. Like, it's only now that I understand how much time it can save. So if you are interested in that, I can only recommend you, like, either wait for somebody like that to appear, or ask the divine, ask God, ask your guardian angel, ask to bring you support, to connect you, or to bring you to a guide who can help you, to support you in your process with integration. Because if you have patterns and all these things and all that, and if you're not able to do it yourself, and if they're repeating things, it's extremely valuable to have somebody who can support you. So I can only recommend it to anybody who's watching. For me, it was this guy, a shaman. I did an interview with him. If anybody is interested, just send me a message here and I'll send you his details. It's really powerful work. I think it's soul work. You're doing like soul work. You're integrating childhood traumas, deep parts of yourself that need healing, that need integration. So it's really deep work. And yeah, it's nice to have somebody who you can talk to in this kind of way, especially if you're like really into spirituality. You cannot really talk with that much people about your process. But if you have somebody and you're like, okay, this works for me, like his sessions work for me, and then through the experiences you understand, you can talk about things. Yeah.